technology is the biggest contributor of GDP. While studying the economy of various countries, when I tried to compare that many countries with so many resources, natural resources particularly, still despite the gift of nature, still they have not been able to improve their position in global hierarchy of economies. For example, take the Gulf. It has the richest resource. For example, see the Venezuela. It has huge oil reserves. And so many countries, Africa, full of mineral resources and all that. And on the other, see the Japan. It has no important natural resource. Even it has to import its food. So, after comparing this paradox, that natural resources alone doesn't matter, alone doesn't suffice, while the country who has been investing in technological advancements have been calling the shots. So even if a country rich with economic resources, rich with agricultural production, it cannot outsmart those countries which are heavily advanced in terms of technological growth and inventions. And in this perspective, Japan is the ideal example how Japan, with its massive improvement in the technology, was able to rise with such huge impact on the global economy. For example, various sectors are synonymous with Japan. Japanese automobiles, Japanese electronics, and so many sectors. Japanese bullet trains, Japanese, so many market leaders Japan has. So Japan, the story of Japan in terms of technological finesse and conversion of that inventive technology into manufacturing technology and thereby becoming a product leader in certain segments clearly says that the deficit of natural resources in terms of minerals, metals, etc., or agricultural resources can be compensated if a country invests absolutely in the technological leadership. Even Israel is the one example. So while comparing the natural resourcefulness of a country and its economic leadership, on the other hand, deficit of natural resources is still leadership in the economy. One very clear example comes of that. If a country has invested enough in improving its technological leadership, invention infrastructure, it has been able to overcome the natural resource deficit. Of course, America is an exception because America is equally rich in terms of natural resources and in terms of technology, and it has tried to balance both, and it has really done a lot in terms of inventions and conversion of invention into economic sectors in terms of technology, in manufacturing, etc. Now coming to this aspect, I would like to discuss the position of India. India is more or less on the trajectory of US, because like USA, India is also having uh, leverage of natural resources, whether minerals, metals or agriculture. And on the other hand, India has huge manpower and human resource potentialities to invent technologies and translate them into manufacturing sectors. And Indian scientists worldwide are one of the most capable communities. Indian medical specialists, doctors, etc., they are globally recognized. So India has that technological potential in terms of manpower, and India is no doubt in fact, it is the most populous country on the planet. So, and India has another leverage, the demographic dividend and democratic dividend, and its alignment with the West in terms of its value perceptions and value adherences. Western America and India aligns well. So, what I want to say here is that, as per my earlier hypothesis, that technological advancement actually compensates natural resource deficit. In Indian perspective, it is even more favorable position that India has natural resources as well as technological leverage if it actually aligns the human potential in India in inventing and improving its technological infrastructure. And there are certain glaring examples in this regard. For example, Bharat Biotech was able to develop co-vaccine, and India was the story of Indian vaccine is a global public good success. What to say? It's a global public good. India was able to help various countries in terms of providing vaccines, and India is one of a few countries, especially in that league. Only two countries were there, UK and USA. I don't say China was successful in developing a vaccine, and some other countries' vaccine was alleged to be stolen by that country from somewhere. So stealing technology cannot be a long run race, because ultimately the country which is being stolen, the country which is being robbed, will develop certain firewalls to safeguard its technology, and finally copycats cannot rise. So what is actually required is that inventing new horizons of the technology. Country like India, where there is a humongous capability of qualified and competent HR, human resource, and that should be very intelligently invested in inventing the emerging technologies in various fields of life, so that India can have the leverage of the technology. When I was reading that a small country like Netherlands, which has the ASML kind of lithographic monopoly of semiconductor making machines, it was a learning lesson for me. So India should try to go beyond that and become a semiconductor super hub of the world, and treat it like a champion mode as was done by China. And I would urge the governments that certain champions should be identified, and Indian government should provide subsidized land, tax, everything, so that they can dominate the global market, not only in terms of the cost competitiveness, but also in terms of their quality competitiveness. And the China plus one policy of the Western world is going to help India in this direction. So in a nutshell, my point is that if Japan without any natural resource can become the third largest economy and can become such a respectable economy of the world, why? Because it has improved its manufacturing quality using the latest technology and improving the product quality and thereby improving its GDP, despite the facts, despite all the oddities that it has been importing all kind of raw materials, but the value addition in terms of technology have been the most critical factors on the basis of which Japan became such a huge success story of economy in the modern world. And countries like India, Brazil, Mexico, which are in the right kind of alignment, should try to snatch this opportunity of global Cold War with China and USA and the rising disputes of Asia Pacific. India should become an economic manufacturing hub with all its demography and democratic dividends. And I do believe that India has the potentiality and will actually realize it. Thank you very much for today.